Hi, I'm here in London and we're at AI Rush with my photographer's assistant, Alexander, who's helping me. So this is a big AI conference here in London, and what I'm hoping to do is interview some people, find out what's going on, what's hot in the sector, what people are up to, how they're helping businesses to grow, and I'll give you all the information in the next few minutes. See you soon. So, lovely to see you. Tell me about you and your business and what brings you to AI Rush.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole idea of my business actually stemmed from the fact that I'm a non-technical person directly in the AI space.
Just like me.
There we go.
Absolutely, it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And I sort of went through my university career loving cell biology initially, going in with the idea of I'm going to be an academic, I will get a PhD. Came out with a company instead.
Good for you.
Thank you. And I sort of taught myself all about artificial intelligence in the past 3 years, essentially. The moment my best friend walked into my bedroom, he's like, ChatGPT is about to change your life, start using it. And so I did, and I then started getting people come to me and saying, you understand AI and you're really good at explaining it, can you please help me, teach me where to start? And then that sort of started there, this tiny fire at my university. And then someone nominated me to go and do a Women in STEM business accelerator. And they were like, you have the skills, just we'll help you with the commercial side of things, start packaging your knowledge, go to companies, they desperately need you. They need someone to give them workshops and talk about AI. And that's where Edvance was essentially born. And yeah, it sort of turned into more of a service-based business, doing workshops, doing AI audit strategies, but I came in with a cell biology degree and I came out with a business degree at the end.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. And how do you reach out to the companies, or do they come to you, or how does it all work?
A combination approach. I like to say engineering serendipity is the best way. So going to events like this, using people like you as well. But also, I do my own little bits of content on LinkedIn. I used to post a lot of videos every single day just talking about AI, and it caught the attention of a lot of people, and they started DMing me, and then it was sort of a chain effect.
Right.
But events and content, yeah.
You're starting at the sort of AI literacy, this is it. This is when we talk about it, we're talking about the large language models and that sort of stuff, or are you finding that the businesses that you go into we've got AI, we just don't know how to use it, or we're using it, it's not working for us? What are you finding?
Everything under the sun. To be honest, they come with me with some sort of query, and I just sit down with my team. We have a team of 7 freelancers now, all students as well.
Fantastic.
And so just really aiming to see what their sort of issues are. We're almost the diagnostic, the business therapist, if you will, and then we'll create some sort of idea that they need. 9 times out of 10 it is they have not even considered AI at all. And there's just one really bright spark there that wants to create a chain effect in the company. So, yeah.
It's fantastic. And are you geographically sort of set in London, or are you national or international? How's that going?
Yeah, international actually. We've had a lot of asset managers from the States reach out to us, banks, mainly the financial services, interestingly enough, targeting us, but also the healthcare divisions. So very open and international.
Really good. Very cool. So fantastic. Nice to talk to you. Thank you for doing an interview.
Non-STEM native people into the many opportunities that we're going to see in this place. And I think there's a lot there for industry to consider. I'm hopeful that we'll see more and more of the apprenticeship schemes focus on that, because I think we're miles behind as a country. If you look at other countries in Europe, we don't have that divide between I'm going to go to academia or I'm going to go technology.
So tell me about you.
Well, I'm co-founder of Smart Consulting. We are a custom AI solution agency. So we are trying now, we are going down the niche of loan consultants. and we are trying to automate the document completion for them.
Right.
Because they have clients that needs to complete documents, and in the documents, it's happening multiple times that they don't fully complete it, or they need to come to them and then go back and explain them, hey, you need to write about your job specifically in that period of time, and those kind of things.
So are you automating, doing automations? Is
Yes, exactly. And we are now going down this niche, but we are usually looking at businesses, and we see like if we can help with anything, if we can automate something. We're now collaborating with a dentist to do kind of a startup for a dental AI companion, and we're looking at how can we bring the patient closer to the doctor.
Yeah.
So it will have, if we collaborate with the dental practice, we'll gather information from them and we'll put it in a RAG system. So actually AI will have some context when it's responding to questions like, I don't know, you took out your tooth and then you'll see in a couple of months, I've got some inflammation on the left. Yeah, maybe it's from that. And something that I would personally like and will for sure put it, it's an accountability tool. I feel like I started going to the gym a lot, and I feel like accountability is my problem.
Yeah.
So something for this area of like reminding me to use toothbrush morning and night,
Cool.
and those kind of things.
And are you coding these things, or using no-code tools? Or?
Yes. So my co-founder is actually an AI developer. I have a background in web development, and I know AI as well, but not as good as him. I know Python and the basics, but for more complicated things, we are collaborating, and he's doing quite a lot. He's now helping for some other job, helping banks to put their systems offline, their AI LLMs.
And are you based in London, or are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm right outside London, but yeah, around London.
Oh well, it's a good place to be. There's lots of businesses here.
I'm planning actually to move to Dubai at some point. So to see how is the market there.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice and warm.
Yeah, maybe not this time of the year is not particularly nice, but yeah.
And how do you go about sort of engaging in the businesses? I guess, so I've been involved in a startup, a cybersecurity startup, not an AI startup, and it's often possible to get your investment, your first lots of investment, but building that customer base so that you quickly become self-sufficient, really important. How are you going about getting those customers across the line?
Well, there is outreach that we can do, but because we are kind of in the beginning, we started to reach out to people that we know.
Yeah.
So, for example, my co-founder was about to take a loan, and he went to this loan consultancy, and they started talking, and I told him, like, say something about what we are doing. Maybe there is something that we can do for them. And similar like that, we had lawyers approaching us because we have friends that are now lawyers, and they say, do you use any AI automation now? We use some ChatGPT, but we cannot use it a lot. And I say, maybe we can help with that. And same now with the dentist that we are turning it in.
That's very good. It's very good. Fantastic.
Yeah,
are you enjoying the conference?
Yes, it's amazing. I think there are some good use cases that we'll talk about, and some very good points, and it's just half of it.
It's good. It's fun, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you very much for
Lovely to
everything.
meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
You've obviously written a book. Tell me about you.
I have. So, well, I'm a technologist. I'm Australian. I did an engineering degree. I've got 4 degrees. So massively overqualified. Worked for large corporates. Worked for British Aerospace in Australia on a defence project. Telstra and Optus in telecommunications.
Yeah.
Then 12 years of startups, a mix of startups from commercial property, business messaging. The one that got me to London was all around location-based services, social media and social media influence. Then spent 4 years at IBM as a partner.
Yeah.
And the last 10 years or 7 years or so been out on my own as a freelance doing corporate talks. So what I did today is what I do for a living, but normally I'm doing a keynote, 45-minute keynote. I'm on a plane on Sunday to Madrid, talk to Fuji Films and their partners about AI. back to London to talk about AI. I was in Coventry talking about AI. 2 weeks after that, I'm talking about AI. It's all that people want to hear about. And the reason for the book, I've been talking about the notion to need to be digitally curious for a while. If you are someone that is hearing about all this technology, the only way you're going to understand it better is if you are curious, and if you're digitally curious, then lean forward and then say, I need to know more about that.
Yeah.
So I put this book together last year. It features about 60 different interviews from my podcast guests, as well as my own thinking and experience. There's a 90-year-old woman in Australia that's reading it, loving it. So it's from 9 to 90.
Good.
And it's a good read.
In terms of what you're doing,
Yes.
what are your key messages that you're giving to businesses?
Most of my
or to try to
clients-
make people...
Yeah, so most of my
Curious,
clients
I guess.
are pharmaceutical companies, technology companies, law firms, generally at a very senior level. And the reason they get me in, and in years gone by, the reason they get me in when it wasn't about AI was we think we need to know a bit more about this technology. We're not quite sure what to do.
Yeah.
Can you just give us some steps to do that? So, good example, last week I was talking to a company called CNX Therapeutics. They are a small spin-off, about 60 people. They're having their annual away day. I spoke on the first day about need to be digitally curious about what AI can do for them now, what it might do in the future. What I do, because I call myself the actionable futurist, is give people actionable things to do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the talk, here are 5 things you can do tomorrow. And the feedback was, one simple idea I said was you can do a hackathon. Get the 2 tribes together, get the going digital, the born digital, get them together in a room, run a hackathon. And the outcome of the hackathon is, what should we as a company be doing about AI? That way you get different levels of the organization. Now, to me, that sounds insanely straightforward and simple.
No,
But for most organizations, like, I never thought of doing that. What a great idea. And so what I do for a living, what I've done in the book, is to try and demystify technology. When blockchain was a thing, my parents ran a small business. My mum was the accountant, so she had a ledger. And I say, hands up, who has ever heard of a ledger? Oh, yeah. Well, a ledger is, distributed ledger is one form of the truth. So I try and use an analogy. Another one I was just talking about then with AI. You'll both, maybe one of you remember the Where's Wally cartoon books.
Yeah.
So Where's Wally was written in the late 80s, early 90s by an English illustrator, where you'd have a scene of all these people. And as you know, for the people who haven't seen Wally, Wally has a red and white beanie and a red and white check shirt.
Yeah.
And the illustrator would hide Wally, only one of him, somewhere in the scene. So imagine a scene of the beach, lots of different people, all wearing similar things, but there's only one Wally. So I wondered to myself, could AI find Wally? So I took the photograph, I put it into Perplexity. My only prompt was, find Wally in this picture. No context, didn't explain who Wally was, where he was, or why I wanted that information. And I said, circle Wally with a red circle. 2 seconds later, there's Wally. So the advice I give to clients is, think of this very busy beach scene as your market, as your company, full of noise. How do you find Wally in that? How do you find the gold in the data? And if AI can do that with no context, imagine what else it could do for your business. And that very clear analogy, they then think, no AI could do that. What else can it do? And I show them some other things, I show them some tools. I think if I was doing the same talk in a couple of years' time, it would definitely have moved on. What I was worried about with the book was published last September. The manuscript was delivered in April last year. I thought it'll be massively out of date. The first 4 chapters on AI are still completely relevant to today's audience because they really haven't moved that far forward in corporates. So part of it is baby steps.
Aren't they? I mean, I speak to businesses every day, all the time, and even tech native businesses. So a business I work with, their whole business is based around a piece of AI technology.
Yeah.
There's only 5 people in the company.
How many?
5 in the company that are comfortable with it. The other 100 know absolutely, they fear it. They go from fear
Why
to...
do they fear it? Because they don't understand it?
Yeah.
Or they've read in the news that it'll take their job?
Take their job, don't understand it, it's not safe, it's not ethical, there's 1,000 reasons.
You know what? They have to have an aha moment. Let's give you another example. A TV producer friend of mine has a girlfriend who was a school teacher. They were going to have a meeting over drinks in a pub. The school teacher rushed in a bit flushed saying, I can only stay for 1 drink. I've got to do the lesson plan for the kids tomorrow and I'm behind. The TV producer said, let's try ChatGPT. Let's put in your requirements. Out popped a perfect lesson plan. The school teacher went, I didn't know AI could do that. completely transformed how she uses
Absolutely.
that. You just need that aha moment. Another example, about 2 months ago, I spoke to 200 Australian and New Zealand accountants. One of the phrases I said, because accountancy is probably a higher level of disruption possibility, I said, embrace automation. And I had 2 accountants come up to me to say, Andrew, you just gave me the push that I needed. I've heard about it, I've read about it. I just need someone like you to just push me towards the light. And so while I think what I do, probably what you do, is insanely straightforward, you sometimes need someone just to put it in terms that you don't think are stupid, you don't think are behind.
No, sure.
I get it now, and I'm going to play with it. And then they come back later and they go, it's changed my life. I didn't know it. So for those 95 people not doing that, they just need someone to give them a gentle push, and they need to be in a safe environment where they don't feel like they're
I agree. It's really interesting. And clearly we are doing similar things.
Yes.
In probably
There's only 2 of us. We need to scale what we're doing to educate the whole world to embrace AI.
I think the interesting thing is, though, we need leadership in this sector. Otherwise, we will be dominated by the big tech monsters. And
they're not monsters. They're big, and they're big for a reason. But sometimes they're too big.
Exactly, and so I think it's important that people are speaking up for use it sensibly, use it carefully, and build it, make it part of your business. Because I worry that businesses that don't embrace the technology will find they've got a super efficient competitor and they've got no business left very quickly. So it's really important. Lovely to talk to you.
You too.
I'm really pleased.
I'm going to give you a copy of my book.
Oh, thank you very much.
You would benefit from it. I'd love you to tell.
And I will read it.
I will sign it. I have my special pen with me.
Please do.
I will sign it, and I would love your feedback as to whether it's something that is going to help other people.
Absolutely.
So, do you want Paul or Prof? What do we go to?
The professor.
To the
professor.
Stay curious.
I certainly will.
And we are at AI Rush 2025.
Fantastic.
There you go. Thank you very much.
There we go. Look at that.
Stay curious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you. It'd be really useful just for the camera, just to tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my name's Rob Saundby, and basically the startup idea is really around data and AI. So AI is the next big thing. I've been working in data management for many years, and my view is that to get the maximum value out of AI for enterprises in the corporate space, it's obviously important to have the right data to do that, to reduce hallucinations, to reduce sort of misinformation that any AI may come up with. So yeah, data is quite a foundation.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think lots of people, so a lot of my colleagues, my day job is at a university, a lot of my colleagues say, bad data, bad AI, and that sort of thing. And I think the problem is getting people to understand that when actually they just see a shiny tool that can do stuff. But of course, if it's based on pretty poor data, then you're not going to get the outcomes that you want.
Yeah, and I think a lot of large organisations, there are many reasons why the foundational data isn't great, and there are many reasons for this. Technical debt over many years, acquisitions have all added, the use of internal databases, but also external vendor systems with their own data models. Different types of integration, point to point. There have been many initiatives and moves in the last 15 years to address these. But I think anyone working in enterprise data governance will tell you that it's a tough challenge. And it seems that now we're reaching a point where AI is being brought in many ways, and it's moving away from just the edge cases, which we were seeing, now to people talking about agentic AI, so using AI agents across the enterprise. And I think with that there comes the need really to have connected, contextualized data across the enterprise. So for many organizations, this is going to be quite a big jump. They're not only going to have to get their data house in order for AI first, and they're going to have to figure out a way of kind of accelerating that, because many of them have been doing this for several years, but it's been at a slow pace.
And do you think AI can be part of the solution to that problem? Because I agree with you that sort of technical debt, the multiple systems, people having a go at sorting stuff out and then stopping, it all becomes too difficult. Can AI help us to finally sort out that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think now is a fantastic time for people working in enterprise data, because there are now the tools available that can help connect structured data sources, relational databases, a lot of the legacy systems with unstructured data, but also to tap into corporate knowledge in people's heads. And it's really being able to kind of triangulate on those three and bring them together in a business context that will massively improve this. So I think, AI absolutely has a role to play in being able to connect enterprise data in a way that simply wasn't possible, even going back 12 months. No. I think now is a fantastic time for that to happen.
And what might be possible in another 12 months, I guess, is the other question, because I wonder whether corporates are saying, we know this is a nightmare, we need to do something about it, and we're starting to see some tools. If we wait another 12 months, it might be that actually this nightmare goes away. Or, of course, the other side of that coin is the nightmare expands and becomes even more problematic.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. The pace of AI is moving pretty fast. What we're seeing, just as day-to-day users going in to use ChatGPT, it can do things now that it couldn't do, 6 months ago, even a month ago. I mean, releases are now, getting on for more frequently than every month. But I think in terms of will it be a step change? Probably not. I think there will be incremental improvements. One of the areas that for me is particularly interesting is semantics, and the use of potentially of ontologies as something that is now becoming the new thing after prompt engineering. Yeah. Initially with LLMs, they're hallucinating, so prompt engineering a year ago was the big thing. I think that will probably change, and the semantic layer will start to evolve. And there may be ways of introducing tools such as ontologies, which have until now been largely the realm of a few kind of information architects. I think they're going to become probably mainstream to support LLMs.
And how will they work? Explain it.
Yes.
Explain it to me.
So very simply, an ontology, it sounds complicated, but it's really just concepts and their relationships. Yeah. But why this is important is because for a company, if you develop an AI assistant, a chatbot, or an agent, you're very interested in your company data. It's your workflows, it's your processes, and it's what things mean to your company. And by having a custom, very domain-specific way of the concepts and their relationships, you're explaining things in the context of your business.
Right.
And that is the key, because as we know, it's a struggle to get business glossaries across an enterprise. So I think to be able to have these very niche ontologies, I think that will help. I was speaking to one of the panelists today who was talking about there being a marketplace for ontologies, that this is something that is going to emerge in the next year.
It's really interesting. It's not something I've particularly thought about, but I guess for my non-technical mind, it's sort of like, create a chatbot and put all the knowledge you've got in there about the way things, answers to all the questions, but then tell it about your values and about how we approach things and how we support our customers in whatever way that is. And then it gives, rather than having to narrow down every single thing to a specific answer, it has a way of generating those answers that are going to be fit within this ontology, as you say. It's really interesting.
Exactly, and I think this is really supporting the reasoning ability of LLMs, where you can provide structured and unstructured data. Unstructured data may be all sorts of documents with all sorts of information. I think giving it a way of when I say understanding, in the ways that LLMs work, of connecting concepts, hopefully should improve the outputs that it gives you.
Yeah.
So it won't jump to a particular conclusion. You're giving it some guidance, and so hopefully its responses will be more useful.
It's really interesting. And so what next for your business? Where does it go next?
Well, I mean, I've been working in data for most of my career, and I see there being a bit of a step change in the way that enterprises kind of approach enterprise data management. And I think there are some great opportunities here to use AI, both to get the data landscape, to make it more transparent, more understandable, more explainable. And this is an area that I'm seeing growing. I really want to want to be part of that. I personally think that it's a huge opportunity. So, yeah, I'm very keen to try to investigate that further and to demonstrate that it can work. Yeah.
I wish you so much luck. I think it really this new technology needs leadership. It needs people that understands where it's coming from, where it's going to, what you can do to make it work. So, all grist to your mill. I wish you all the best of luck.
Great, thank you very much.
IBM. And this highlights actually that quantum computing can uncover unseen patterns.
Good. So you were on the government
I was in the government, the AI and government and public sector a moment ago, yes.
And you're particularly interested in the human factors, I guess.
Because what the perspective I try to give is, okay, we shouldn't start with AI, we should start with what's the need of a citizen, but also an employee, if you want to utilize and implement AI solutions. It should add to their needs. It's not a question about what can it do, but what should it do and what could it do.
It's a really good point, isn't it? So I do quite a lot of work with local councils and that sort of thing, and often the conversation starts with, there's some technology, we need to use it, we need to make efficiencies and stuff like that. And it's okay, we might get there, but actually think about what you're here for, and then how can we help with that? And if we can deliver those things more efficiently, then so be it. But there is I had a really interesting conversation this week with a Chamber of Commerce who provide services, and it was like, could we provide better services to our lowest tier of members?
Yes.
And I think the answer is yes. And so let's work on that. And I think that's what I guess one of the things I find is that some people are very reluctant to engage with this technology. They're scared of it. They're worried. They're concerned, and therefore create barriers or monsters to try and deal with that. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's another part of digital transformation, because I see AI as part of the digital transformation. You have to start with your customers. There are customers who can use it, who want to use it. So I think you should provide something for how they want to do it. Then there are people who need a little bit more help. So you also need to think, so how are we going to help those people? And there are people also who just don't want to use it. And I think as a government you have the obligation to cater for all these different needs of citizens, which is different from a commercial perspective. And another thing I'd like to add is that the word value is, I think, also something to be looked at. Like, value in a commercial sense is money. And in a government sense, yes, it is of course money plays a role, but it's more more intangible.
Yeah, those societal outcomes are much more important, aren't they? For if you can find a way of improving somebody's life or a community's well-being, that's really important. And interestingly, that will make the difference politically.
Yes.
I was having a conversation with somebody else about, why was a particular sector struggling to get government to listen to it, and maybe the answer is that actually you need to get the public to be engaged in it. Then the politicians will listen, and so that was a different way of looking at it, I think. So, do you feel? Are you excited by this technology, or are you concerned about it? Where do you sit on that?
I'm in the happy clappy part of the line. No, I'm using it myself quite often. To be clear, we don't use it at UWV.
Yeah.
We've really restricted it that it's not possible to use it. But in my private life, I use it constantly, daily, and not only ChatGPT. I'm having conversations and what is it? Thought experiments and discussion, or not discussions, but I'm bouncing things back and forth between ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Perplexity. I'm putting
Fantastic.
because sometimes I get an answer from, let's say, ChatGPT, and I think, you're really trying to please me, and then I'm throwing it into one of the other. I think that I found a word for that, by the way. That's called. I wrote it down today. Oh, let me see.
Sycophancy.
Sycophancy.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And certainly, I think ChatGPT actually they've realised that when I think it might have been 3.03 came out, that it was just very sycophantic, and they've turned it back because it was always agreeing with it. Do you feel like Holland feels very similar to the UK in terms of the take of this technology, the interest, that sort of thing?
Clarify a little bit the question.
So, are you based in the Netherlands?
Yeah, I'm based in the Netherlands.
Yeah. So, does it feel the same? Does it feel the same in the Netherlands? Your community talking about AI taking on?
Yeah, and
as it does in the UK.
There you have the thing we have to take in. Also, not be careful of, but that we notice that we're in an echo chamber. Right. All the AI adept people.
We all talk to each other.
We talk to each other. No, isn't this amazing? Isn't that amazing? And I also sometimes, with this enthusiasm, speak to some friends, and then they look at me like, okay, what are you enthusiastic about?
I have it all the time.
Yeah.
I guess I spent quite a lot of time in Germany and used to play cricket in Holland.
Yes.
So and
there are a few cricket teams in Holland.
There is. I played for Arnhem, and I think the Dutch and the British are quite similar in temperament. Often we were quite similar. So I assume it will be a similar level of evangelists, perhaps like ourselves, and people who are a little bit more sceptical and cynical and a bit concerned. No, it's really interesting.
But often what you see is that, maybe it starts with some skepticism and concern, but you have to gradually take people along and get them used to it.
And then they have that moment when they go, gosh, this is impressive.
This is something,
I know that when it was for me, I think I watched a video about prompting, and suddenly I tried something a bit more clever than just do this for me.
Yes,
and that moment was wow. Okay, this is, you know. And then I was in. I was hooked.
Yeah.
So
Because how many GPTs or how many AIs are you using?
So I use so daily I use ChatGPT, I use Claude, I don't use Grok, I use Gemini. Gemini is very good.
Yeah.
I use Perplexity for search. I use Midjourney for graphics. I use Notebook LM for research. I think it's a really powerful tool.
I've put all these logos. You know those presentations of people when they're presenting. Look, these are the companies we did services for. I made such a slide on the AIs I'm using.
Yeah.
And I'll send it to you.
No,
but it's quite a lot of it's
There's a lot
yeah.
out there, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Canva for doing my graphics and things like that, and the YouTube, the AI tools within that. It's democratizing.
Yes.
I get a chance to do stuff that I don't really have the skills for.
No.
But now I can do it.
But that's a nice point you're addressing, because I was thinking I was thinking about education where you first had a lot of education into becoming the best Photoshopper or the best scientist or whatever you. That knowledge is now
there, and you can use it.
Yeah.
Now, and there's a negative side of that, isn't there? You know, if you're a creative and suddenly people are creating art with a prompt, that's quite challenging. My daughter's a creative, and we have this argument quite a lot. But the idea that I can now do something, I am being released to do something that I would never have been able to do, feels wonderful to me. I mean, it releases my voice to be able to do it, and I think that is a really positive, democratizing thing. So, I think we as leaders need to guide people and make sure that it remains something that's positive rather than something that's very negative.
Something springs to mind, like, because it's democratized, you also get sometimes very mediocre results.
Yes, absolutely.
So would you say that democratizing is similar to mediocratizing then?
I hope it may be, but it's also amplifying. It allows. I mean, in the UK, which is a country that is built on strata, some people have access to things that other people don't have access to, and that's sort of baked in privilege, if you like. If we can break that down, if you're wealthy in the UK, you can go to a great school, you can go to a great university where you have tutors that we know that's the best way of people learning, the most effective way of people learning. Well, we can give everybody a tutor now. So suddenly, and we can reduce the price of degrees.
And a tutor who is tailored to you
and knows you and pushes you in the areas that you need to learn in, but not in everything. We are. It could be really cool if we can make it work and release that nascent passion and knowledge and excitement and creativity in more people than this very limited. We'll see. We'll see. I'm really pleased we've had a conversation. I know it's been difficult to try and make it work, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.